Ooh, hello. How's it going? I just came back from the forest. And as you could see from the last video, it's been a place I've been visiting a little bit, and I like it. I like it a lot. So I kind of want to share a little something. What is it? In the book, Autobiography of a Yogi, I started reading and I learned about this thing called Kriya Yoga. And Kriya is Sanskrit for action, so it translates to action yoga. And they're super secret about it. They don't tell any techniques, but I know that they work with the central nervous system. And what it is you kind of, from my understanding, you energize that. You like break all the energy knots, because on your central nervous system, that's where your chakras are supposed to be. That's where your kundalini is. That's where you derive all your energy. Because in our physical body, our peripheral nervous system is all the nerves that are in my arms and my legs. Everything that isn't my spine and my brain is a peripheral nervous system, if I'm right. And then within the central, there's certain other things. I don't want to speak too much, but basically, you get the central nervous system really strong, and you burn off your karma. You become enlightened. You strengthen it. You strengthened your nervous system to handle more electricity. Okay, cool. So through action yoga, you strengthen your nervous system, and you are able to handle more energy. And by handling more energy, you're able to think deeper. And that kind of means like your awareness expands. You're aware of so many things. That's where you can have what I've heard to be called cosmic consciousness. And I think I stumbled across this a little bit when I reached the Godhead, where I felt like I understood God within everything. And like from the air to the wall to the pillows to my roommate. And I felt like I could talk to God and see the God in everything, including myself and others. And it was just cool. It was cool. But today, I was walking, and I was going like, I was moving my spine, because one thing I learned this summer is that you can get like crystallizations on your joints. And when I started drinking just distilled water and having watermelons and maybe too many cookies, I would wake up and I would go like this, and it would go like, and now it doesn't do that anymore. But I'll notice it in my spine. And I think the spine is one of the places people like work on the most, like they'll go exercise their arms, their legs, their abs, but who spends like 20 minutes like just popping their spine, Wow, even that right there, that was nice. I'm doing the other side. Balance, baby. But I was walking, and I was getting in there. I was warming up my spine. Sometimes I would slightly move my head, move my shoulders, and then just crack it all. And so I walked maybe almost a mile and a half, slowly trying to massage my spine and get like all those muscles ready. Just kind of put my awareness on those just in that area of my body. Because when you're stretching your leg, your awareness moves to your leg. You're like, oh yeah, that's where my muscle is. Oh, am I stretching it too tight? Am I not stretching it enough? You're just very aware of that area, to the point where it's almost like you're there. Like if you were to close your eyes, most of your awareness would actually go to your quad. And if you have your eyes closed and you're not used to having your awareness to your quad, you'll more than likely lose your balance. Try it. And yeah, stretch and do that. I dare you. And then open your eyes and see how much easier it is to get your balance. But yeah, I went outside, and I went out there, and then I finally got to the tree that I went and filmed the last one on. I go. And what was it? By like prepping myself that whole way through, I got my blood flowing, so everything was lubricated and my whole body was moving well. I was at a pretty warm temperature, so nothing felt stiff. Like all my muscles were pretty loose for the most part, and so I was able to just sit down and get myself to such calm states. because the very first time I meditated outside, I went onto this lookout nearby, and at the very top, I reached the highest I'd been at to that point in meditation, especially around people, and I still noticed background noise. So since then, I've been working on getting that background noise to go away. And today I reached a newer level. Like I reached that God consciousness, that Godhead level, I would say. But I put the awareness external. Like okay, I'll just, okay. So I relaxed my spine, right? So I didn't have that much tension like deep within me. So then that helped me calm down even more by sitting down, straightening my spine. And then from there, I just started doing breathing, just relax breathing, steady breath, steady breath. And eventually there's this breath technique called the Ujjayi or victory breath, where you so you kind of contract this part. And if you do that for a little bit, you can get used to only taking maybe like 4 breaths a minute, then 3, then maybe 2, and then you are barely breathing by the end. Your nose contracts up here, your throat becomes very tight. It's almost like you're breathing through a tube like that big. And it's just, but like maybe even slower than that at some points. And what happens? So you do that, and then when I got my memories back from being a kid, I reached the state of being so calm that I went outside, and my blood circulation isn't very good on my fingers, but I was able to slow my heart rate down to where it was like, it felt like the blood vessels on my fingers were able to dilate and handle the blood pressure. It felt like before it was going too fast and it was like being rushed. I don't know how to describe it. It just felt like it wasn't reaching there. But once I lowered my heartbeat, it was able to reach my fingers better. And I remember checking putting my hand over my heart and being very surprised because I've heard of it, but I never tried it. And that was maybe in the beginning of March. So I've worked on that a little bit. So I'm doing 1 or 2 breaths. And then from there, I slow down my heart rate. And there's just not much going on inside my body. There isn't much vibrations in the first place. And it was so still within me that since I was sitting, I was able to feel the vibrations of the ground very easily. And I've been working on projecting my consciousness outwards with the astral projection stuff. So I was able to project my consciousness outside of my body a lot easier because I was so still internally in my thought, in my physical, and in my spirit. Well, I mean, my spirit was kind of the one that was just like, all right, I'm gone. It was going around. People could be so far away, and I could hear them running on the path way before they even showed up. And then I'd hear them realize that I was there, and I'd hear them like act different. They would talk differently to their friends, or they would run differently. Their breathing patterns would change, and it was interesting. It was really funny. It was like when I was a kid, I used to hide in my house, like maybe in the closet, just to see if my parents were paying attention, and they'd be like, JC, JC, JC. And I just thought it was funny. And then because I knew what they were doing, I knew what they were doing the whole time. And it's kind of like, I guess that's essentially the same thing that I did when I was a kid. Now I'm just doing it outside, and I'm trying to feel more comfortable doing that outside because it helps me reach those states easier when I'm alone. Because if I can do something around people, then of course I can do it alone. That means that I've already practiced it to a degree. That means I'm already comfortable. And yeah, man, it was awesome. It was so cool. It was so cool. At one point, I completely like lost sense of my body. There was this group of people walking by, and it was a wife and her husband, and she was like talking to her girlfriends about what her husband did when she was grumpy, and her husband was there too, like hanging with all of them. They got kind of grumpy at each other. They kind of had this fight, and I thought it was funny, so I was listening to it, and then I just got bored and went back and was like, oh, should I come home? And I realized that I'd moved my consciousness from maybe like 80 to 100 feet minimum maximum away from me, behind me, in that direction, and then moved it all the way that way. Maybe like another 150 feet, and like I felt like I was there. I felt like I was right next to them, hearing all of this. And then it was like where I could physically feel my consciousness come back. So this has helped me feel a little bit more confident in my abilities and feel a little bit more aware of how to do these things. So this is good. This is really good. This is like super good. Because when it gets warm, because it's cold outside. That's really the main reason why I keep coming back inside, because it's cold. But once it warms up, I'm going to stay out there all the time. And we'll just see. Hey, nature's healing, man. Look at this. Look at this. Before I go. Look at these little flowers I found on the ground. So I want to make a little tea out of these right here. Don't know what they are. I'm going to find out what they are, though, later on. And, yeah, we'll see how they feel. Anyway, see what they do.